Hey everybody, so today I have some exciting news. I'm about to add a whole new piece of my home decor because I just got my degree. So, after 18 years in the Navy and 41 years of life, I finally got my college degree. And today we're going to talk about tuition assistance because I did this 100% using only Navy TA. So this kind of applies to all military, but it gives me that chance to tell you how TA works and why you should be using that. Stay. Now, as promised, I said I would do more videos about my day-to-day and my personal life. And for me, getting my degree is a big milestone for me because if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in military tuition assistance and wonder what's the difference between that and the GI Bill. So, in today's video, we're going to kind of talk about my experiences, some misconceptions, and actually talk about how you go around using TA to make that, dream come true of getting your degree. Let's all be honest, we all join the military for different reasons, some for patriotic reasons and whatnot, but realistically, we are weighing those benefits. And for me, I wanted to go ahead and get my degree, and tuition assistance allowed me to do it. But if I'm in the military and I was offered a GI Bill, how did it all come down to me going this route other than the other? So let's take you back down memory lane, and back in 2006, right before I joined the Navy, I had done AmeriCorps to help pay for my college. I had attended Columbia College Chicago and Harold Washington College, which is basically a community college in Chicago. What I really wanted to stress is during that time in Chicago, there was a really hard work-life balance because I was going to college at night and basically working during the day, hence me being in AmeriCorps. And even with that scholarship, it just wasn't enough to pay for the high amount that college costs these days. So, when I was offered a chance to join the military and get a benefit of the GI Bill, I was like, okay, this is great. I'm gonna go join the military, and once I'm done, I'm gonna get out and focus on school full time because the GI Bill will pay for everything, my housing, my books, yada, yada, yada. Keep in mind, this is during the time of the Montgomery GI Bill. They were still in negotiations about the post 9/11 GI Bill, so during this time, I was just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, and I've realized if I wanted to succeed in college, I needed to go to college full-time, no distractions. So, idea was, join the military, do my 5 years in, and then I'm gonna go off and use that GI Bill. As the saying goes, it's always the best laid plans. My son Ty was born in 2010, and basically that was about the time I was supposed to get out the Navy. So, of course, with that dynamic change, I decided to stay in a little bit longer, so the GI Bill thing would have to wait. But at this time, they were talking about making the GI Bill transferable. Luck would have it, I actually got accepted into this military program called the Advanced Visual Military Journalism Program at Syracuse University. Basically, the military would pay for me to go to college for a year, and as long as I stayed in a little bit longer and applied that skill to the rest of the military. This was perfect at the time of me deciding, hey, what am I gonna do with this new GI Bill that is transferable? Now, first thing you gotta realize, if you're going to transfer your GI Bill, you're gonna have to obli-serve. With me realizing I would have to obli-serve to transfer the GI Bill, I decided, hey, I will stay in a little bit longer, give this to my kid, and figure out what I will do with my career later on. It was during this time in Syracuse that it really clicked that college wasn't as hard as I thought it was. You can do it as long as you're focused. So it really clicked that I really needed to get this degree before I get out the Navy. Now here's my first big challenge. Even though I was going to Syracuse University, the school had offered me an matriculation which allowed me to stay at that school without going through that rigorous admission process with ACTs and SATs. The only problem was a big name school comes with big name prices. So that's where I had to kind of rethink my whole idea of what am I gonna do to actually get my degree. My friend finally landed me on a perfectly military-friendly school that worked for me. So that's how I actually started attending Thomas Edison State University. And I can sit here and tell you why this school was great for me for 101 reasons, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But truly, the reality of everything kind of hit me once I got stationed in Norfolk. I had a good chain of command who sat me down and said, listen, we look at your transcripts, you got all this military experience, you got this time at Syracuse, you got these piecemeal credits from college to college, why aren't you finishing your degree? And that's when I kind of hunkered down using TA, and now in October 2024, commencement and all, I now have my degree. Okay, first things first, I really wanted to talk about the difference between the GI Bill and tuition assistance. Now, even though they're both military programs that allow you to get your education, they're meant for very different situations. The GI Bill allows you to attend a university, have the government pay for that, give you some living stipend, pay for your books and all this stuff, so you can really just hunker down and focus on your study. Now, tuition assistance is a little bit different because this is allowing you to take courses while you're still active duty in the military. So with those two different kind of benefits, let's talk about how you should actually prioritize TA over GI Bill if you're actually staying in the Navy. Now, like I said before, the GI Bill is perfect if you're going to school full time. The GI Bill allows you to just focus on your studies and kind of advance your knowledge in whatever degree field that you want. Growing up in Chicago, I got accepted into Columbia College Chicago, which is pretty much 100% admission rate. But with going to that art school, I got that giant tuition bill. And of course, at that time, being young and naive, I kind of said, I will do this course here, take some community college courses here, and try to make it all work. But all that didn't factor in the fact that I would be going to work during the day and then college at night. Me having a son during my first tour made me realize that I never wanted my son to have to make that decision. And of course, I would like him to study hard, get all the scholarships and everything else like that. But realistically, the biggest thing for me was I want my son to leave college debt free. So when the GI Bill became transferable, and I knew I would have to be in the military for a few extra years because I transferred it, that's when I really decided, all right, GI Bill is great, give this to him, I'm gonna use tuition assistance. Now, tuition assistance is pretty generous. I mean, their program allows you to get $250 per credit hour. And if you're going to an online school and they're military friendly, that's more than enough to go through. I mean, you're not gonna get your degree quickly, but if you're trudging along, doing your day job and studying because you're dedicated to whatever you're trying to study, by the end of your tour, you can walk out with a degree. Now, I know you're looking at me like, hey, you did 18 years, why did it take you so long? Of course, a lot of that time was piecemealing it together, okay? Things happen in life, my son was born, there was medical issues, things just happened in life, and it stopped me from going to school. But hey, now that I'm older and more mature, I have things a little bit more locked down. And with that dedicated time, I was able to use my TA and go ahead and get that degree. So before we get into the nitpick of everything that I'm talking about here, let's talk about some misconceptions of what TA actually is. My command doesn't want me to use TA. Now, there's certainly some toxic commands out there that are going to kibosh your whole dreams of going to college. But most military policies basically say you have to have 1 year at the command, you have to be qualified up to the T's. Basically, can you do your job right now? And if you can do your job right now, most commands will sign off on it. Now, I say the whole 1 year thing, but many commands will actually waive this if you're upfront about it. So, you're probably going to check into your command. You're going to go through a career development board. And during that career development board, they're going to ask you about your education. And if you're serious and you go, hey, I want to get my degree during this tour, or I want to at least get my associates during this tour, the command's going to support you, especially if it's something within your job specialty. The reality is, most of your classes are going to be taken at night or at home anyway, so it really doesn't affect your day-to-day. Now, there will be commands that are made tonight because, hey, we're going on a mission, we're going out to sea, and it may seem like, oh, these guys aren't allowing me to do what I want to do right now. But in reality, they're probably looking out for you because, hey, you're going to be going out here, we're going out to a stressful environment, you're going to get distracted, and you're probably going to fail that course because you have so much to do in your day job. And I'm not sitting there saying you can't handle the stress, but it's something that some people with some experience may look at you and say, let me help you out and give you a hack. don't take the course right now, take it a little bit later. Now, if you're on shore duty, I sit there and say totally optimize your time there and get that degree. It's free time, free money, get your tuition assistance and get that degree. I can just use my GI Bill while I'm in the Navy and not bother with TA. Some schools, especially the big name schools, will try to convince you, hey, you want to go to college while you're in the military, that's fine, we will work with you. Just tap into your GI Bill a bit. And I'm going to tell you straight out, don't do that. Using your GI Bill while you're in the military is a big mistake because first off, you're not going to get the full experience and you're not going to get the extra benefits and stipends that go with that. I keep saying that TA covers your college while you're active duty and still working in your day job. And this is totally true. The thing about the GI Bill is you're going to use this benefit not to its fullest extent because you're actually in the military and there are certain rules that won't allow you to use all of the extra benefits and pay that they give you. Again, earlier I said, your degree validates what you already know. So if you're doing something that you don't know and you really need to learn everything from the ground up, the GI Bill is perfect for that because it's giving you that in-person, face-to-face schooling with those experts and teaches you how to go along. While using TA with online school, again, it's similarly teaching you some things, but validating what you already know. A big thing to remember is you can only use your GI Bill once, okay? And once you use it, it is gone. But TA, it gives you that levity to kind of switch around, figure things out, and even try different degree paths until you figure out what you want to do at no cost to yourself. TA has to be related to my rate. Now that's a pretty easy one. Any job is going to want you to get education that benefits them. But TA has no bearing on what job you're doing in the military. If you decide that you want to get a journalism degree, even though you're currently working as a medical professional, the military isn't going to stop you, okay? Of course, there are some award packages and different programs in the military where they look at your package and they say, oh, he's going to college. Oh, and he's doing something that's beneficial to the Navy? Thumbs up. But all around, TA is a personal decision between yourself and your education specialist, okay? If you want to go ahead and learn how to do something strange and out the wall, you want to learn philosophy or history, and you are working the day job as a cook, no one's going to stop you. TA is TA. You can study whatever you want as long as it fits what you want to get out of college. TA is hard to access. So back in the day, the military had Navy college offices. You can go there and basically there would be a line of schools that would sit there and try to get you to join their school. They'll sit there and say, hey, if you come to our school, we'll give you this many credit hours. If you come to this school, you'll be able to finish your degree in 2 years' time. Somewhere along the line, the military said, we don't want to pay for this, basically this dealership office. So they made everything virtual and online. And of course, and I'll tell you myself, you go into this website and it looks daunting, but it really isn't, okay? Once you get your education plan in and you actually start applying for schools and actually using your TA, it becomes a one-click shop. You go in, you go submit your application and take your course. And of course, it gets easier and easier every time you take another course. So with all that being said, and those are misconceptions, let's actually talk about the TA program. Like I said, you can go to the website and it's going to get daunting because you're going to see all these meal purse manuals, instructions, and everything else that says this is the do's and don'ts of this program. But I'm going to go ahead and simplify it and break it down Barney style and give you the step-by-step of how to actually use TA. So the first step is you're going to need a degree plan. Now the best way to do this is you pick the school that you want to go to, okay? They'll have you assigned to a military advisor. Usually a school will sit there and say, hey, our academic advisor, this is just for military personnel. And that guy will sit down and tell you, here's your degree plan. You want to study communications? This is your degree plan. This is how long it'll take. And they'll actually email you a piece of paper that you'll need to submit up to your Educational Service Officer or ESO. Step 2, you're going to notify your ESO. Now, an ESO is assigned to every command. It's usually somebody in your admin department or career counselor. They're going to sit there and you're going to notify them to say, hey, I'm going to take this school. They're going to give you some advice, kind of validate everything you're doing. Basically, you're giving your command the heads up of, I want to do this. And of course, your higher chain of command is going to be the ones who say yes or no to your course, but I have been very few and far between where a command will say no to this. So now that your ESO and everybody else knows what you're going to do, your command knows that you're going to start classes, right? Step 3 is to actually register for the class, okay? Go ahead to your school and register for the class. Caveat, make sure that your school doesn't charge you until 1 or 2 weeks after the course starts, okay? Usually I will pick a college that says, okay, you get 100% refund after the first or second week of that course starting, okay? This leads us into step 4, submit your TA request, okay? So you're all done with the Navy College office and the online site. You talk to your ESO, you register for classes, okay? Now you're going to go into a website called My Navy Education. There might be a different one for different services, but at this point, you're actually going to submit the TA request. And basically, the TA request is going to say what course are you going to take, how much is it going to cost, and what time period you're going to take. And this will come into a factor a little bit later as I explain it. Submit that TA request. Normally, TA requests are due no later than 14 days before the course starts. Me, I actually knew when my courses would start, so I would actually submit that a month in advance just to be on the safe side. And let's say your ESO's on vacation or your admin person doesn't sign or approve your TA, because even though the military bigger higher ups will assign and approve your TA, the first person that you need approval from is your command approval. If they don't approve it in time or something happens, because life happens to people, even in your admin department, you want to be able to withdraw from that class without being charged. Now, when it comes to actual fundings, you don't have to worry at all because TA pays the school directly. There's no money going through your hands to the school, so you never have to worry about that. Now, step 5 is easy. You just got to go through the course. Pay attention to your transcripts, okay? Basically, you're going to probably see in your college balance that you still owe a balance until after the course is completed. Once the course is completed and you have a C or above, the military will pay for it, okay? If you get a D or below, that's going to come out of your pocket. Basically, in the old days, if you fail the course, they will actually send a notification to your command. They become a little bit more discreet with that because life happens. During my time in college, my son was going through some medical surgery, so I had to actually stop a course. Of course, when my command saw that I didn't pass that class because I had to withdraw, I got punished for not being able to finish that course. And it wasn't fair because, like I said, life happens. So, of course, the military has changed that to, if you don't pass the class, you'll get a notification basically saying you have to pay that class back. One course is probably going to cost you about $750. And finally, step 6, withdraw from the course if you need to. Just be upfront with your ESO and your advisor, like, hey, this is what's happening right now. And no one will ask you any questions of why you need to withdraw. If something's happening, just withdraw, explain it to people if you feel comfortable with them, and move on. There will be more time. You have this benefit for as long as you're in the military. So stumble a little bit and keep going. Find out what works for you. There have been times where my friends actually did a course not realizing how high level the course was. And because within that first week of seeing the syllabus, they went, oh no, they actually withdrew, okay? And nothing's wrong with withdrawing, okay? If the course doesn't work for you or it's just not fitting into your schedule, withdraw early. I get it. Going to college while you're in the military is hard. And that's why the military offers you that GI Bill, a chance to get out, pick up where you left off before you join, and get that degree. But trust me, it's doable. Tuition assistance is an incredible benefit that you get in the military, and it would be a waste not to use it. You don't want to sacrifice your GI Bill, and you don't want to get into debt, okay? So tuition assistance is a very viable option for you to go ahead and slow roll and take your courses. I'll be honest, okay? I actually did a month on, month off policy. Basically, going through Thomas Edison State University, they had a college course every month. Some other schools, they say, hey, fall, winter semester, yada, yada, yada. But at Thomas Edison, I can go ahead and start a course in January, kind of get my foothold in, do some pre-gaming for my work. Then maybe in February, I can take another course, or if I need more time, focus in. By the time my final comes up, In March, I'm taking the second course, and I was able to keep doing this and stacking until I was able to complete my degree while I was on shore duty. Of course, this also gave me the ability to withdraw if life ever got hard, but I wasn't in that situation. And like I said, the reason I picked Thomas Edison for me was because they actually offered me the most transferable credits, and it was actually doable within my time in shore duty. I've been going to college since before I joined the Navy in 2006, but when I really got serious about things, TA made it possible for me to achieve this dream to actually get my degree and actually finish up something I had started way before I had joined the military. So it doesn't matter if you had just joined the military or you're probably your second or third tour in the military. I want to say it is still worth it. You still have time. Use that benefit, okay? There are a lot of jobs out there outside the military, and we know that the whole idea of gatekeeping by the fact of if you have this degree or not is something. Get that degree. Hey, you might get your degree while you're in the military and decide to go for the officer corps. Go for it. You may decide to take that degree and walk away from the military. Again, that's great. But if someone's giving you something for free, take it. Take advantage of it. This is a great opportunity, and I want to see all of you succeed. So, on that note, we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program of us going on travels, but thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip.